Because what I will do, I will put this onto my YouTube channel, which you can find at !YouTube. We're going to do the Aquarius full moon reading. As I said, this is kind of like going to be the energy present throughout the next month. But it also feels like, too, because there's going to be 2 full moon Aquariuses, like it feels like this is going to be the umbrella theme around that. So I'm going to feel out what cards to use. I do have the Creativity Oracle. I have the Magical Cards of Doom. I also think I want to use this and probably this as well. I already have, so I spent some time before stream setting up kind of like a spread to use. Ooh, okay. I'm just trying to think where I want to start, because the first question I had is basically what struggle, like, are we going to be facing? The realizations that are going to be happening, the emotions that are coming up, and what needs to be released. Because one of the things I really enjoy about doing like readings is helping people understand like what do you actually need to let go of. Because sometimes when like these lessons kind of come up, it's like, okay, like, is this showing me that I need to like let go of the past, or do I need to get my head out of my ass and approach the current situation differently? So I'm gonna pull like a few cards for the struggle that we're gonna be facing. And I'm going to be focusing on this, so if you do type in chat,
I'm gonna be delayed getting back to you.
So, for the full moon in Aquarius. Ooh, what is the struggle? That we are facing. There's a lot of cards that are trying to come out in this, but the magical cards of doom. These are my own like homemade cards. I hadn't used them for a while, but we have been inspired by Sins. Sins of Science is the person that always reminds me that the magical cards of doom exist, and every time they get brought up, I'm like, okay, I guess we'll get them out. So the struggle we face, the struggle that we might be facing right now, or during the full moon in Aquarius, is like an overarching lesson. Okay. Then I'm gonna go into the realizations that are happening. I will go into the cards and explain what's coming out in a minute. I'll pull and then we'll go. The realizations that are coming through. Oh, I feel like that's, oh, okay. That feels like the Leo energy, but I'll just go with it because it's just like, what's coming through this time? Okay, so it feels like the struggle. I'm gonna move these around. It feels like basically like, who am I okay to let my boundaries and guards down around? And like, this card is making me, also, I'll just move this over a little bit. because this came out in reverse, where it's let your guard down, it's safe to trust, you are safe and don't worry. And this is in reverse. And with this enchantment and actualization, it's making me feel like some people might say that they are there for you, but who actually is? Some people might be saying that they support you, but who actually is? And it feels like, who are the people who are like enchanting you and like who are like talking the talk, but actualization, but who is walking the walk? But this is also with ourself as well. There is all of this like maybe dreaming about what it is that you would like to do and like to become, but where is the actualization? Where is the steps? Where is it coming into physical form? And it's also kind of like, it feels like, how are you actually starting to achieve your full potential? And it's okay to like take your time, because it feels like sometimes when we want to actualize, what the struggle is like, it's with patience. It feels like, okay, like the moment you want to like, okay, I want to bring this in, it's, you want to do it right away. And that's, it does take time. And it's not a race. And it feels like this is a slow moving, it's like feels like a slow like shifting of, oh my God, it feels like just like a wake up call. Getting out of these like fantasies that you have about how reality is, and really being like, hold up, wait, like I need to hold myself accountable for what the fuck I'm actually doing with my energy and my time. Because I can sit around and I can think all this shit about, you know, where I want my life to go and who I want to be. But if you're not doing anything, it feels like it's just like connecting it in to actual reality, and making steps. But it feels like, with Aquarius energy, it reminds me of like the Star card in tarot, which is about kind of like renewing your hope and your vision and your faith. And the star, it's like the North Star. It kind of guides you, and regardless of kind of what obstacles come in the path, it's like, you know what you're following. And it feels like these next, and it's probably going to be these next 2 months, anywhere where you feel like you've been delusional, it's going to be connected back with logic and like clear understanding of like, actually, like this is what needs to happen. And it feels kind of cutthroat as well. It feels like, so we had this spirituality, tarot, crystals, meditation, chakras, the astral realm. This was in reverse. And it kind of feels like, it's so weird. It feels like putting boundaries up on this like blurry, idealistic fantasy nature, and just getting a little bit more like clear cut. Like, rather than hoping and wishing for the best, it's like actually like, and it's something to do with confusion. I feel like there's something to do with confusion here, like, because spirituality in reverse makes me think of delusional, unrealistic, confusing, issues. People who are just like, la 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 la, like, my head's in the clouds, and like, I'm just gonna wish for the best and hope for the best, and like, there's this like, avoiding and like pushing things away, or like draping, like, it's like, feels like someone's like trying to drape something over, like they're trying to like brush it under the rug, or like put a pretty blanket over an actual real issue that might maybe be making you feel like uncomfortable. You might be like sensing that there is like something that needs to be addressed, and it's like, so it's like, oh no, like, oh no, 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 everything's okay, or like, oh no, no, like it will be fine. And it's like, you're trying to be realistic, like during these next 2 full moons in Aquarius, it's like actually like getting realistic, getting out of delusion and like being realistic. But it's like almost as well feels like, but making like, you don't like discount your dreams, and you don't want to discount spirituality. You don't want to like throw away like a connection with something that is divine. But it's like, I don't know, it's like blending rock with water. I guess that's Aquarius, innit? Like, because it's like the Aquarius symbol is a woman holding a vase of water. And it's like separating the two. It's like bringing like structure to all of this like vague, these vague like far out feelings and dreams and hopes and wishes. Whether that's being applied to people or your purpose or your path. It's like bringing structure to this vagueness and being like, actually, all right, I need a bit of a wake up call here, because like this is all like, you've been doing a lot of this like swimming in this vagueness without actually like having boundaries around it. For people who practice psychic work, it feels like having more psychic boundaries. Oh, this is really interesting too. It feels like as well, like just because you are spiritual, it doesn't excuse the fact. Just because you're spiritual, it doesn't excuse facts, right? It feels like you can be a healer, you can be compassionate, you can be kind, but it doesn't excuse the actual facts. Especially with this letting your guard down and trust. Now, I have another card that is about don't trust, keep your guard up. But this is like, it's interesting that this card is coming out, but in reverse, because it's kind of saying the same thing, but different, which is more about like, it feels like sometimes just because you think you're spiritual, it means that you shouldn't have boundaries or you shouldn't have guards about people. Because you're spiritual, like we'll call it, because you're spiritual, it makes you think that you're a bad person by holding people accountable for the actual things that they've done. And there's this like, yeah, like this like, oh, like, maybe, I think the term is called, I'm getting the word spiritual bypassing, but I don't know what the fuck that means. Like, that is not a word that I would use, but maybe some of you guys will connect with the word spiritual bypassing. Because yeah, it feels like this like brushing things over, because you want to be nice, because you want to be kind, but it's not good. It's not good to do that. It feels like things need a bit more definition, including this like vague, confusing shit. If there is someone in your life that's really vague and confusing and bringing up a lot of confusing energy for you, you need space and boundaries, because like it feels like the energy that swirls around them is making you feel lost about where you stand on your path. Now, the realizations that are happening from this as you do this, it's about what lights you up, and this is the Starseed card as well. So for anyone that resonates with the idea of being a starseed, it feels like there is an activation happening with these people of like, okay, like I am getting clearer about this like shit, because like you can feel just confused, and the source of confusion, it might be happening inside the house, but it might be because you're not holding things like accountable for what they are and like having boundaries about them and like taking space from it. But from this, you're going to realize like, what is it that actually lights you up? And from, again, these next 2 months with the full moon in Aquarius, it's like it feels like you're realizing, and this feels like more because the sun is in Leo too. It's like realizing what lights you up, like what can you actually actualize, what is, of all of the dreams and the fantasies and the things that you want to do that are all like this vague floating around like emotion, like what can you actually do, what's actually worth doing. And it kind of takes like a fire to ignite you to push forward. On top of that too, we have the Star Mother, which is how can you mother yourself? And it feels like, so this boundary issue thing might come from your mom directly. It might be healing a direct pattern that you learned from your own mom, or mother, or mom. If you are American, your mom. Did you learn from your mom? If you're British, it's your mom. You learned it from your mom. And notoriously, you know, moms, they're coming from a generation. I mean, this is an 18 plus stream. I'm imagining everyone's over 18. Like, most of our mums are going to come from an era where like people pleasing is rampant, and just trying to kind of like harmonize and like keep everyone happy. And it just feels like I don't know, it feels like this reclaiming of, oh my God, how you really wanted your mom to be, like how you really needed your mom to be. Because it's not all this wishy-washy energy that like, there's sometimes where things need to be smoothed over, but there's sometimes where it feels like there needed to be power like given to you, and like you needed to be empowered. So throughout the month, the next 2 months, it feels like asking, like as confusing energy comes in, or you feel like you can't actualize these things that you want, we're looking to the females in our life as to like where we've learned this pattern and how can we like reclaim back, like I think what the divine feminine is all about, which isn't just, you know, nurturing and soft. There is this like fierce protectiveness. We are allowed to protect what is inside of us. It's a hard shell, you know, like the womb. Like you can't just fucking pry a baby out of it. Like you have to slit a very deep cut to try and get a baby out of its shell, you know. It's not something that people can just come and slip in and like take things from, if that makes sense, you know. Like a womb that's like filled with the light, like with a life, like with something that's being nurtured, like it's protected. And it feels like there is this like strengthening of the pelvic floor, of like of femininity, like not just being this like soft, passive, squishy shit that you know, always has its guards down because it thinks it's like helping everybody. But it's about like mothering yourself, but like in a way that's like, it doesn't have to just be like soft and nurturing, but also like strengthening, like empowering. And also like it feels more like warrior energy, to be honest. Not being afraid to like protect yourself. We do have the time cards on 2 occasions now. So this is the realizations that are happening. So one is take a break, a life's work, not a season, get off the treadmill. So it's just saying that like with all this, you do have to recognize that like this is a process that takes time. You're not going to actualize these dreams right away, but it's just like starting to make these decisions every day to get that way. But it also feels like if you have been grinding, Oh, so interesting. It feels like grinding isn't what you need to do. Like, I know I keep going. I'm using. We're going on to the baby metaphors. Like, does a baby need to grind to get its resources met from its mom? No, it doesn't. Like, the baby just chills. It sleeps when it sleeps, it poops when it poops, it eats when it eats, and it's just kind of like, it's just doing its thing. And each moment it kind of trusts itself to do what it needs to do, and everything's kind of like sorted. And it feels like there's a blend of like actualizing and that, where it's like trust. The base card of this with the realizations is where are you being called to stand up and to lead? Where are you being called? How are you being called to step up and lead? And this, it does feel like becoming like the brave leader of your own life, but not at a detriment to yourself. So we still have this mothering energy. You're not dragging yourself like out and grinding. But it's finding this like balance in between. Also, I'm not looking at chat, so I'm just hoping this is resonating. I will catch up at the end. I hope you guys are enjoying this. We're doing a full moon Aquarius collective reading. This is going to be recorded. It is being recorded, and it'll be up on my YouTube channel. So I'm going to go into like the emotions that are going to come up during this time, and then we're going to go into like what needs to be released. So during this time, what emotions are going to be coming up? All right, so we have the moon in reverse, which is like old fears and paranoia. It also gives me this feeling of being lost, and very like deep emotional. Yeah, it's like almost feeling like you don't know where you end and the other person begins, or other people begin. And it does feel like confusion. It does feel like very, very deep, like fears, very deep subconscious, like discomfort and distrust. Yeah, I'm just gonna ride the wave. Like, there is a really deep distrust of how life will take care of you. That's very, very emotional. What will come up emotionally too is maybe reflecting on the times where life has betrayed you. Life did betray you. Going back to this like enchantment, deep hurt really does come from sometimes like our expectations not being met. Betrayal is usually when we've had this like expectation of like what's going to happen, and it's not met, and it's fell through, and it feels like we're going to be revisiting deep emotional betrayal and this deep feeling of like, I don't fucking trust life. I don't fucking trust it. I don't fucking like it. And then the Queen of Swords is there too. So this is that energy I'm channeling now of just like being very vocal, being kind of cold, being like, fuck you. Like, I don't like this and I'm not comfortable with it. And like, I'm mad and I'm pissed that this happened and I'm hurt. And it also feels like too, though, there is this feeling of like growth. There is this deeper patience that is blooming. It feels it's very much blooming within us, deep inside. That as we, progress through this path, we really are starting to, it feels like, untangle this really these complicated emotional energy around fear and deep betrayal and just this inability to trust life. And it is important that you find safe people to speak about it with. Like, I do feel like you need to give yourself permission to have a bitch. Be like, you're allowed to like have a bitch and a moan about things in like a contained environment where it's like not like it's being like purged to be released, not to be fueled into more pain. It's about like setting it free, and like it feels like during that process too of just setting it free, there is this like clarity that starts to come through, and this like knowledge and this wisdom of like, you know what, actually I'm a fucking bad bitch. I'm a bad bitch and I got this, you know, or like I'm a brave person, you know, I'm a brave person and I'm a courageous person and I'm an intelligent person and I can do things, you know, aside from all of these like deep emotional confusing swirling of energy in my body, like, you know what, actually, like I can be clear cut and I can be patient. We have justice in reverse. So it does feel like a sense of unfairness. This is a major, well, we have two major arcanas here. Ooh, I can just feel it. It makes me emotional because I hate to feel how wrong done you guys have ever been. Including myself, like, I need to include myself in that too. Like, it feels like the emotions that are being addressed at these times in life where something just really unfair fucking happened, where you were not treated fairly, where something wrong, you were wronged. You were wronged. There's no question about it. Justice is in reverse. Like, justice was not served. You were wronged. And there are times in our life where all of us, like, have been wronged, and this is what we're dealing with. This is what we are processing, and letting go of, so we can really start to actualize what we're doing. Like, I feel so many of you from this, like, you know, becoming, like, starting to step on a path of becoming a counselor, becoming teachers, becoming, you know, social media influencers, becoming, you know, card readers and on a higher level, becoming astrologers, like, really doing the thing. Really doing the thing. I don't know what the thing is, but you're really going to be doing the thing. It's the thing. Let's get into what needs to be released. What card deck do I want to use? Because I have a surrender deck. I'm going to go with this. This is going to be what we need to release. Then I'm going to check in with chat, and then we're going to do the second part of this reading. If you resonate with this, if you're watching on YouTube or if you're watching on Twitch, please drop a follow. Please support my content. Go check out Patreon. Go check out my YouTube. I'd really appreciate it. And if you're from YouTube, go check out my Twitch. I live stream every Sunday, and I am thinking about adding an additional day of either Monday or Tuesday. So what do we need to release? This is a feeling of deep disempowerment. This feeling of like, I have no power. It's inner power in reverse. So it's releasing the energy and the feeling of really letting go of that memory of being powerless. What else needs to be released? What else needs to be released? I see a lot of like inner child. Some people have, you know, some really upsetting things that may have happened to them when they were younger. That powerless feeling is making me think of like children who, you know, they're really in a situation where they have no power. They don't have power in the situation, and they just were subjected to it, and it was wrong. But it's like really letting that feeling be released, because if you keep carrying that inside you, it always kind of just serves as a reminder that, like, as you progress in the path of like really actualizing your dreams, this energy, it comes in as a reminder to say, like, actually, no, you can't really do it, because you're not good enough, or like you don't really have the power to do this. You're not good enough. You're not brave enough. You don't have the fight. You don't know enough. There's too much pain. Like that is being held inside. The base card is being extraordinary. Being extraordinary. That's so interesting how there's a peacock on there. I saw a peacock the other day, and I've never seen a peacock in England roaming around, just like chilling. But I saw a peacock. But this is, so the base of this, and the basis of why I feel like we're releasing, is so that we can really embrace the wild, impetuous uniqueness that deserves to be honored. It feels like so you can spread your wings, so you can show off, so you can do the thing. So we can be grateful. We can be grateful as we're releasing these things. You can release it with gratitude. I feel like someone's just like, how do I release? So tuning into the feeling and like intentionally saying, okay, like, thank you for what this taught me, but I don't need it anymore. And just letting it kind of like drop. You can write it on paper and set it on fire. But just being grateful, like with a heavy heart, I now let this go. I'm grateful for what it taught me, and I'm grateful for what for what it left me with and what it helped me to become. But I no longer need to carry the emotional energy of this wrongness that happened to me. Oh, that's so weird. I was like, oh, it's just really speaking to me, this reading. We're letting go of this companionship, like this idea that we need to carry it. This idea that we need to carry this pain with us as a companion. It's like this energy of like, okay, if I just carry this feeling of immense distrust in the world from these times that the world fucked me over, like I'll carry it around as a companion so that when the world does fuck me over, like I'm not alone. Because I have like this to keep me company. It also feels like too, really letting go of it feels like letting go of like the relationship to the relationship to the emotion. Like what does keep it in place? Like why is there such a strong relationship to the feeling? And like it almost feels like breaking up with its, like it feels like having a breakup. I don't think there's actual breakups happening. There might be, but it feels like breaking up with these feelings. Like I appreciate all you've done for me, and like the time that we've spent together, but like I'm ready to separate now. Like I'm ready to let this go. And it does feel like too, like, yeah, being single again, like breaking up from the emotion, no longer needing it as like a companion. But you can do so with gratitude. And now we are going to approach it in how do we move forward in a more empowered way, what to do for ourselves, what do we need to do for others, and then general advice. And then we'll get into some other readings. If you're watching this on YouTube, I do readings on Twitch. If you want a reading from me, you can gift 5 subscriptions and have one, or 10 subscriptions for a astrology reading. And then other than that, we do subscriber-only raffles for people who support my content. On my Patreon at $20, you'll get access to weekly readings, monthly readings, and a private live stream that I do as well. And a tarot circle that is a new addition. If you want to learn tarot and be surrounded by like-minded people and chill and chat and have coffee and learn about tarot cards, that's also a perk on the Patreon too. That's actually a little bit cheaper, but that would be included. So, looking into the energy, this is what to do for ourselves. What to do for ourselves. This is interesting. It feels like, and this reminds me of popping into Luna High Lunatic Stream the other day, because there was this vibe of, I know I manifested this, but I don't like this. Now it's happening. Which is, it feels like this, like, having the courage to manifest things that are bigger and better, and imagining ourselves with more, and having the courage to imagine that for ourselves. Even with me, like, my solar plexus, like, shrinks in. It's like, oh god, no. You already have enough. Don't ask for more. Or, like, don't feel like you can have that. But it feels like having the courage to explore your manifestations, to actually regularly manifest. Because you know that you can get it when you do it. Now, manifestation, there's a ton of manifestation techniques that you can look at. Writing, visualization, feeling, affirmations. But it feels like having the courage to practicing calling upon abundance and resources, and like asking God to give them to you, asking life to give it to you, affirming to yourself, like, I know this good thing is coming. It feels like having a good thing that you can do for yourself is having the courage to manifest the resources that you actually want and desire. It actually feels like support. A lot of people actually are just wanting to manifest support, whether it's from people. It feels like having people that they can speak to about what they want, support in like financial aspects too, maybe. But either way, it feels like a positive influence. I'm just gonna pull some more info on like what we can do for ourselves. I love this card so much. So we have courage, courage and manifestation. Now, courage is also like being brave. And it does feel this vibe of like being brave to push past your comfort zone, even when you think that doors are shut, trying to find doors that are open. Having the courage to keep exploring what doors are available to you. This feels like friends, honestly, like, and that makes sense in the Aquarius energy too, of like connecting with community, connecting with friends, having the courage to socialize, to talk, to improve your social skills, to improve your social life, to meet new people, to meet new friends. And I honestly feel like there's a goal here of having people who support you in your life, regularly making the effort to be supportive to the people that are supportive of you, and actively, if you feel like you have no one in your life that is supporting you, then think to the people that do or that you think could, and make efforts. Have the courage to push yourself in your social life, because it also feels like too, right now, it feels like the doors might feel a little bit closed. Like life isn't kicking off yet. Like you aren't gonna have like, I don't know, if it feels like life isn't just gonna change overnight just yet. You have room and time to make friends and like to make a support system that is going to support these big manifestations that you want. So having like a good girl friendship group, having like guys that you like converse with and talk with, like being part of like a support group. It also feels like as well, even if like you feel like the doors are shut in regards to you having friends, like they're not. Like you can make friends. There are millions of people out there. Like you just need to make the effort. Like if you have a mental block that says like, you know, I don't know how to go about making friends, like there is no one out there for me. Like there are social media apps like Bumble BFF. There are groups that this is a community right now active. There are living people who are individuals who are in this chat room right now over on Discord. You can make the effort to make friends. Make the effort to make friends. Make the effort to make friends. Even though it's going to be out of your comfort zone a little bit. And sometimes you will have to make an effort and like the door is going to feel like it's shut. Maybe it's not going to be reciprocated. Maybe you hit someone up and say, hey, how are you doing? Like, I really like your vibe and I would like to hang out with you more. Or like, hey, this thing that you're interested in like seems kind of cool too. Like treat people how you want to be treated. Like engage with people with curiosity and interest, just like how you want someone to engage with you with curiosity and interest. And just keep gauging though. Remember the reading earlier, it's like we want to be aware of this like enchantment vibe where like we want to be realistic. Like you do need to take into account what is paying off in regards to your efforts. You don't just want to willy-nilly, you know, give and like fuck yourself over. But yeah, it just feels like as well, like if you do feel rejected by people and they aren't meeting you, rejection is divine protection. Rejection is divine protection. Maybe they got some weird fuck shit that like you aren't feeling, and like I don't know, maybe, you know, like not everyone has room for more friends. Also too, you know, just some people just don't vibe and they're not meant to be that way, and that's okay. You are not a piece of shit. You aren't as bad as you think you are. You are loved and you are lovable. This is my homemade card deck, by the way. It's called the Magical Cards of Doom. But you are not a piece of shit. You are not as bad as you think you are, and you are loved and you are lovable. So as you are manifesting and having the courage to manifest different things in your life, do consider the support system that you have around you and the friends that you have around you that can actually support this new life path for you. Even though sometimes you might feel rejected, you might feel like an outsider, you're not a piece of shit and you're not as bad as you think you are. I actually think many of you have the tools and the capacity to be good friends, but some of you have probably, again, from the earlier reading, have just been hurt, fucked over, don't want to give your energy to the wrong people. So this is what we need to do for ourselves. This is what we need to do for ourselves. Now I'm going to pull into what do we need to do for others. And that came through, like, I was intuitively guided to, like, make this spread. And usually I don't talk about what we need to do for others, but maybe that's the Aquarius energy. This is not about just us anymore. This is about all of us, you know. This is about, like, it's not just you in the picture, you know, with Aquarius energy. The Leo Sun is about you, but you know, the Aquarius energy, it's about everybody, and it's about the collective, it's about groups, it's about community. So what do we need to do for others? I actually hear this like message of like we need to like see if we can offer ourselves. Like, okay, like where am I needed for other people? Like asking other people, like, how can I help? That's the vibe that I get.
What do we need to do for others? What do we need to do for others?
Sirius, thank you for the gift sub. I appreciate it. That's so funny too, because the other message I have on like what you need to do for others. So we have like take your time, being patient with other people is super important right now. Try not to rush things with other people. Good things take time. Good things take time. But we also have this is about money. This is about charitable. This is giving. This is giving. This is giving to other people karmically. But this is also recognizing that you are abundant and you have, it feels like this is the divine source, like giving you money just out of nowhere. And this is a very karmic card of like altruism and just giving of yourself. So yeah, it's so funny that you just gifted a sub as that happened, because it does feel like thinking of ways that you can like give to others. In a way that's like, it's not about how it benefits you. It's really about like, okay, how can I benefit this person? Like, what do they need right now? And in a way though, just as karma comes back around, like you'll find it comes back to you. And it does feel here as well, like with if you feel like kind of tight, about things, like again, this isn't just about money. This is also about your time and your energy. If you've been feeling kind of stingy about like, I don't know if I'm gonna give this person my energy or my time, or like I don't want to make, again, because has to do with like friendships and other people. If you've been feeling kind of stingy with your love, with your time, with your energy, with your money, try to practice like letting go of the stinginess and just giving anyway. In the spirit of like good karma, in the spirit of like wanting to love, wanting to share. And you can just do one little bit. You don't need to fuck yourself over like you've done in the past, where you've like given like every ounce of your being. Like this ain't that anymore. Like this is just a little bit, all right? Then we also have clean, tidy, fix environment and make things look nice. So, and this is what we can do for others. So just offering to clean things up, offering to tidy. I feel like this is very like, this is interesting because it kind of comes up on multiple levels. It feels like offering, like, it feels like offering friends to like help them like organize things and like help people fix their environments that they're in. Yeah, making things look nice. It just feels like helping out. This just gives me the energy of just like seeing where you can help out. And the base card is about positive mental habits, affirmations, gratitudes, focus on what you want and appreciate what you have. I know it's really cliche, but it kind of gives me the vibe of like being that person to other people that you want in your life. That same support that you want to have, that you want people to give to you, you need to give it to them. And you need to give it to others, but from this like more of a freeing place, because it does feel like we need to let go of some old energy where we've been betrayed. As I said, that we kind of spoke about that earlier, but that as we release that, we can start to like give of ourselves a lot more. I'm gonna pull another card as well to see what we can do for others. Which deck do I want to use? Okay, it wants to be this one. And then we'll get into some general advice. What do we need to do for others? Yeah, we have the Devil, which is like, it feels like there's strings attached. Like, when this is like an outstretched hand, like giving something, but there's strings attached. It's not giving from a place of having strings attached. It's like learning to give from a place because like you genuinely want to serve somebody else. You genuinely have their interests at heart, not your own interests. That doesn't mean sacrificing yourself. Again, like, because I think a lot of people have trauma around like giving.
It also feels like too, as you change the environment around you, that to support your life that you're heading out into, I do feel like you need to go back and nurture old roots. With the Ace of Coins, in reverse, it makes me think of like nurturing roots that already exist, like nurturing things that already are around you, or relationships that are current. Because I actually feel like this is not about trying to get like new people and chase like new shiny things. I actually feel like there's this grounding process of actually appreciating and being able to like see the goodness in what's in front of you. Especially as well with this like Two of Swords in reverse, like it's like blind. This person's blind, like they can't really like see what's in front of them, and that being in reverse too, it's like learning to appreciate and recognize the goodness that is actually in front of you, rather than like and like engaging with it in a way that has no strings attached. Just appreciating it, because then we have the nine of Pentacles, which is about abundance. It's knowing that there's way more than enough, and it's like health and wealth and being able to be focused on. Feels like there's an element of this of like focusing on you have like your own goals and your own like separate thing that you're doing. It's just, yeah, I just keep kind of feeling this feeling of like appreciating what's in front. There's an awkward feeling though that I'm feeling too though. So just give me a minute. Like either someone is resistant or I'm just not getting the full message. So I wanna, what is this? It feels like this skepticism, like there's this like skepticism that, but going back into the first reading that we did earlier, as you release these like deep feelings of mistrust, and because you've given to people before and you've been betrayed. You've given to people before and it's just not been received in the way that you needed it, and it has felt like it has felt like it has been a waste. So there is this like desire to protect what is yours, and that is valid. But I think as you release these old emotions and this old pain of being betrayed, and being deeply hurt, and not being able to trust life and not being able to trust people, what you'll find is that like you'll actually be able to see the good in what's actually in front of you, because it does feel like we keep, fear is holding us back. And this is also like the past, like, is holding us back. And I was just about to say that the past keeps like projecting onto our present, and it's like it's kind of distorting the goodness of what is, and turning it into something that is bad because of the past. But yeah, and underneath that too is like, again, we have the positive mental habits and affirmations and gratitude and focus on what you want and appreciating what you have. And then listen, you have the answers. Like, you already know what to do, and keep following like your divine ideas. Because you are being told, like, you are being guided. Like, so if you've been feeling like starting a new group or reaching out to somebody or like trying to make friends with somebody, do it. Okay, let me just find. I think that is this still. I feel there's like a little bit more tension still there, but I don't know if I'm just tuning into like the unhealed protectiveness that is around sharing resources. I'm just gonna see what words kind of move me through the energy, because that's how I work. Yeah. It just feels like when in the past you have like given with strings attached, hoping that things were going to progress into a place that it didn't. And there is a feeling of like betrayal with that. And there's just like a fear that it won't pay off. But you have to learn to trust yourself. And as you learn to trust yourself, you can kind of keep staying like realistic, like keep checking in if these like things that you give, like reassessing like the motives, asking yourself like, is there strings attached? Like, am I doing this? Because sometimes like you might reach out and be supportive to someone in hopes for them to be a friend. Like, that's okay. But I think at the same time, you can also incorporate an acceptance of, and if it doesn't turn out that way, then I'm happy with this piece that I've just departed with and that I've just given to them. It reminds me of a saying that a lady called Malor on the stream team said. And it's about how energy cannot be created or destroyed. And I've heard that before, but I'd never seen it in this way before. And it was about how everything that we give, we can't just create more of it. Like, it has to be given back to us in some other way. Like, there needs to be an exchange. So what you give, like, you have to get something back. And now sometimes I think it can either be, you know, from the direct source that you've given to, or it could be from other spaces too, but you just have to kind of keep that in check. And I think for a lot of the empaths in the world, they have done this thing where they have like give, and hoping that it's going to come back from, like, one day it will come back from the source that they've been given to. Or B, one day it's going to come back from this outside source. And actually, like, these kind of harsh lessons have kind of taught you to, like, keep what you're giving in check and in alignment with yourself, so you actually honor and appreciate your own energy and actually value your own time and energy. And as you get older, you'll naturally kind of fall into that a little bit more as well, but it does feel like this is something that is happening, like, I don't know, like collectively, like whoever's listening to this, you know, and you resonate, like you're here because you're on that kind of, you're resonating with this message basically. But yeah, it feels like that's what we've really learned here, and now we're learning to give again to what we value with a place of non-attachment, no strings attached, but genuinely giving, without thought of return. Or we can hope for return, but we can also be satisfied with no return as well. I think you only start to like really hurt yourself when you keep giving and giving and giving and giving and giving to something that is not giving back to you in the hopes that one day it will. And that is where you got some people, not everyone, were hurt in the past. And it's like, that's what you're avoiding repeating again. And you avoid that by just checking in with yourself. And you do have a new improved relationship with yourself. But because of this betrayal in the past, it is distorting the view of how you appreciate people today. And I'll be honest, it does feel like some good relationships are being thrown in the bin. It does feel like good relationships are not getting the gratitude and the appreciation that they deserve. But that's okay. Like, this is also, you know, other people are going to give this to you as well. You know, you will be treated with the appreciation that you deserve as well. And just the way that you interact with people, rather than it coming from this like, I need to protect and defend my resources, it completely changes like the way that you're connecting. I'm gonna pull some final cards for general advice. I don't know what cards I want to use. I guess we will go for this. General advice in regards to how do we move forward in a more empowered way. How do we move forward in a more empowered way? Embracing your individuality. Every person has their own personalized study plan in this Earth school. I think it's just like respecting and appreciating your own personality. Going with the divine flow. I did ask for general advice, so this is as general as it gets, right? Eventually, one sublime desire takes precedence over all others to follow the Tao, the divine flow, at all costs. But this is trusting, I feel like, your individual divine flow. And we have allowing at the base of that. Is there any other general advice that wants to come through about how we can move through the full moon in Aquarius in a more empowered way? We'll be opening up some readings after this as well, so you can do !help to see how to do that. This is so interesting. Yeah, we're doing like a deep energetic clearing in regards to self-love, and we're allowing others to help us. We're actually allowing other people in this journey. All this deep healing that we've been doing on our own.
It's time to make those friends that you actually speak with and share with
about this self-love journey you have been on. Deepening like this connection and allowing other people in. Inviting help in. Like allowing people in. Not just anybody though. We don't make those mistakes again. It does also feel like as we clear this energy, this deep energy clearing of what we talked about in the first part of the reading, which will be up on YouTube, there is this new way of like embracing yourself. I'm going to read this quote from the self-love card. It says, "Let the wall fall that separates me from my own vulnerable inner child. I long to take care of myself like never before." And the invite help card says, "Invite the divine to pursue you. Seriously, just say, 'I'm finally ready, God. Pursue me.' I am finally ready, God. Pursue me." I love that. And this is all deepening. This is all deepening. I just feel like we're releasing grief. And this is karmic grief, which then turns into love, which then turns into courage, which then turns into divine love, which then allows for ease, which then allows for us to expand, and then allows us to have faith. If you guys resonated with my reading and you'd like more, you can check out my Patreon. I make weekly, bi-weekly, full moon, new moon readings. I do monthly readings as well. I do private streams. We run a tarot class that's super affordable. All in the Aquarius spirit, I guess, right? Of uniting people that have like-minded, quirky interests. I also teach astrology, and you can check that out on Patreon. And I do hope that if I do get enough support on Patreon, I do have a goal on there where if we hit enough pledges, I will start making free content that's available for everybody. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening to my Aquarius full moon reading. If you're listening to this on YouTube, please drop a like, please subscribe, and I will see you guys again soon.
I'm gonna stop recording now.